Cambodia has gone to the polls on an election day. Many in the international community have labelled a sham. Already the world's longest-serving Prime Minister Hun Sen is running in an election race with no real rivals. Our reporter Abby O'Brien joins us now from Phnom Penh. Abby, how has election day played out?
Good evening, Leland. Well, polling stations have just closed and counting is now underway. More than 8 million people had registered to vote in this election, and by 1 p.m. today, officials had estimated the turnout was more than 70%. Now, some were sceptical of that number. That's because in 2013, when the main opposition party was in the race, the number was also 70%. It's expected we could have a preliminary result as early as this evening, but for now, here's what happened through the day. Among a throng of local and international media, Cambodia's Prime Minister of more than 30 years was widely expected to be re-elected. The reason, critics say, is because of a lack of challenges and after a campaign of intimidation. Today would mark Cambodia's 6th general election after emerging from decades of war. Cambodians voted amid opposition calls for a boycott and with observers describing the show of democracy as a sham. Australia and the United States both distancing themselves from voting day to avoid legitimising the election. Polling stations have just opened. Prime Minister Hun Sen, one of the first to arrive to cast his vote in front of a heavy media presence in a show of democracy. But it's democracy today that's under question. The campaign drawing international criticism after reports Hun Sen had silenced his opposers, temporarily blocking 17 websites the government said posed a potential threat to security. 20 parties were contesting, but the only real opposition, the Cambodian National Rescue Party, was outlawed last year. The exiled former opposition leader Sam Rainsy urging Cambodians to avoid the polls in a Facebook message.
Well, unfortunately, this Cambodian election is not going to be genuine, and it's not going to be free or fair. The problem is that the opposition party, the CNRP, which won 44% in the local elections in 2017, has been barred. You're talking about an election without an opposition.
In the southern province of Kandal, where Hun Sen cast his vote, many supporters did turn up, and the deputy governor says voter numbers were strong.
This time round, it's more exciting than other terms. We've seen people turn out to vote more than any other time. Yesterday was a big traffic congestion. People travel to their hometown, to their provinces to vote.
Voting is not mandatory, but the National Election Committee says whatever the turnout numbers, the result will be legitimate and under close watch from 39 international observers.
We welcome all national and international observers, no discrimination. If they cannot send, it's their choice. We have to respect the choice of different countries.
Counting is now underway, but there are a few doubts on the result. Calls for a boycott had been dumped to the Clean Finger campaign, and that's in reference to the ink that stains the fingers of those who've cast a ballot. Around the city today, many were bearing these stains, but not everyone. Those who we spoke to, well, some who we spoke to, said that they didn't feel like there was any party on the ballot papers that they supported, and that's why they didn't go out and vote. Prime Minister Hun Sen is guaranteed to win this election, and he said he hopes to continue his rule for at least another 2 terms. Leland?
Thank you, Abby. Abby O'Brien reporting for us there from Phnom Penh.